Hello and welcome back for another episode of FPL Journey to 10K. For anybody that listened to the last episode, you probably found it got deleted very quickly because you couldn't hear a word I said. So I was talking to myself for 29 minutes. Hopefully you can hear me this time. And yeah, welcome. Welcome to the podcast and series in which we learn from one of the best players that has ever played the game. In his 8 seasons playing the game, he's finished in the top 10K 6 times. He is a former world number one. And as I said on the last one, an all round good guy. Matt, welcome back to you.
Hello, my friends. You okay? How are things?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Mm.
The fact that you can hear me makes me hope when we put this out that everybody else will be able to hear me at the same time.
Mm.
And we're not wasting our time here. But we'll find out in about an hour or two.
Well, hopefully I'm still working. Everyone can still hear me, right? So, like, I reckon,
Yeah,
I reckon
you're the
people could
main.
probably
You're the
just
main.
about guess what you're saying. But yeah, I love
Yeah.
love the headset, new gear.
Yeah. So I figured out the issue was my microphone wasn't working. So I plugged it in just as we were setting up to do this, and the laptop wouldn't take it. So you might see me with a headset for a little while until I fix my mic.
Yeah,
So
suits you.
not quite as fancy as we can't be sponsored by Blue Yeti anymore because I don't have a Blue Yeti mic. Whereas, well, I suppose you still do.
Yeah. What's that? What brand's that? Is that a Jabra?
It is exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's
What a
a
guess! You know your headphones.
yeah, that's a peak of style. That I don't know whether it's like I don't know whether you're giving like pilot vibes, which is probably quite flattering for you, or
I'll take it.
I don't know
I'll take it.
tech support. I don't know.
But because of the hoodie, we'll go with tech support. I feel like
Yeah,
that's probably more along the lines of it.
yeah.
You also know what to do for a living, so we'll go tech support.
I think
As the
everyone's still trying to work that out a little bit, right?
well, I best not jump up too much because there's a logo on my hoodie. I'll try and keep that out of shot. Um, but yeah, how have you been? I appreciate we did the last pod to a game. Well, we haven't spoke since the last game week point went on, or really since 2 game weeks worth of points have gone on. How have you found them?
Yeah, I think it was 32 we missed, didn't we? Because that was the real quick turnaround. So
Yeah.
yeah, 31 wasn't great for me. 32 was an okay green arrow. However, I didn't really do too much, but yeah, it was decent. It was decent. I mean, we'll go through our teams, but I kind of kept in
Yeah.
Watkins, who kind of saved like a
I'll bring it
pretty
on.
poor game week for me. Yeah, just with my team and my structure, I'm just a little bit snookered in terms of what I can do, really. So I'm looking forward to game week 35, really, when I'm wildcarding, because like there's a very strong template at the moment, and yeah, the differential players I've got are just like not great. So like yeah, like just some of the structural things with my Bournemouth players and my Liverpool players, they ain't great. So yeah, not too bad, but yeah, the kind of rank is still disgusting, right? So yeah, I'm still like around 350k overall rank, but like it's not as bad as I was nearly down to 400k coming into this game week. So I will take that. It's still far from respectable, but um, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, shall I walk through my team just as a
Yeah,
quick
yeah, yeah.
reflection? So, yeah, 68 points last week, 1.9 mil game week rank. Yeah, green arrow from 380 to 344. So yeah, kind of like miles from where I want to be. The team, I guess some of the positives. Double Arsenal defense again came through. When if like if we're casting our mind back 10 game weeks, we're kind of always like, it's what minute the Arsenal concede a random goal. But like, I think now it's just in such a rhythm that it's like, you just expect them to keep a clean sheet against anyone. So yeah, obviously kind of like, I think their effective ownership amongst good players is probably about 150%. So you need two Arsenal defenders to kind of get the value from them. But yeah, obviously really happy with both of them. Saka getting the goal, the pen, and the free bonus was pretty happy with that. Yeah, Watkins was probably the main differential that I've had amongst kind of engaged players. I wasn't able to move him to Darwin because I've already got 3 Liverpool players. So yeah, him getting his the goals were and returns was pretty yeah, it was pretty nice, I have to say. But I think that's the risk you just have to accept when you move on like a really good player, right? So, like an example of that, like moving on a really good player for me was like I brought in Salah, who got he got 8 points. So people who captained him are pretty happy with that. I captained Palmer, which I haven't really got many of these 50-50 calls correct. I think it probably was quite close to a 50-50 going in to the games. I just thought Sheffield United were a lot worse than Manchester United, and that would kind of that would kind of weight as an advantage to Chelsea. I mean, Palmer was actually very fortunate to get a return at all, so yeah, I think I got away with that a little bit. But a couple of weeks back, I bought in Salah and Palmer, who I viewed as must-haves for Foden and De Bruyne. And like Foden and De Bruyne have actually done really
Yeah.
kind of incredible the past 2 game weeks. But I think I'm still net up. So yeah, like the point there is that Watkins example. When you move a good player on, you've got to expect that they're going to return like on kind of like quite a few game weeks. But it's more like are you up over the long term? And I think for my Salah and Palmer move, I'm still up versus Foden and De Bruyne, despite the De Bruyne haul this weekend and Foden's hat trick last weekend. Elsewhere, my team didn't do much. Like the Haaland, got his return, but then, Kelleher, Zabarani, Gordon, Solanke, all kind of blanked really. So, it was quite compared to other teams. Like it was quite average for me, but I'm happy to get a green arrow. When I've had a captaincy, not a blank, but like a low
Yeah.
scoring captaincy. So overall okay week. My move, because we didn't sort of speak about moves last game week, was I moved on Richarlison, who's just like got that ongoing injury kind of issue and was like kind of called out. He was like declared out of this, kind of like the most recent kind of game week. I brought him in for Eze. Now the dilemma I had was I'd either go Sarabia from Wolves, who got 7 points. He got the penalty. I had no idea he's on pens, right? So that was new info for me. I would I have started him? It was tough, like because Gordon is pretty consistent with his attacking. I could have benched Gordon maybe, but it'd been a bit of a toss up. So I was happy bringing in Eze and the reason why I brought in Eze over Sarabia is because I'm quite comfortable benching Eze the next 2 game weeks, and then I'm happy to play him in game week 32 and 33. I really like. I think from an attacking point of view, the fixtures at Palace having 34 for the double are really appealing. So I'm quite happy, to bring in Eze. But Sarabia getting the pen was a bit tough. But okay game week. I think looking at my team, there's a few structural issues, right? So having Kelleher and Bradley is a problem. I don't think they're the optimal, 2 players from Liverpool. I think the issue is that both Trent and Alisson weren't in the squad at the weekend against United. So I would have liked one of them to come off the bench or one of them to have started. And it just gives me a bit more certainty, because if I want to move Watkins on to like a Darwin, I need to get rid of one of those. And it's like, I don't know who's the right one to move on. So that's the structural problem. And again, my Bournemouth players, of course, a bit of a structural issues where Kirkes now seems to be playing and playing good minutes every game. He just didn't do in the double game week and the blank game weeks when I needed him to do that. But I don't think having Kirkes and Zabarani is optimal. I think having Neto as a keeper would have been better. But hey, I've got some time to move them around. And going into game week 34, I've got 3 transfers to use. I've got 2 going into the next game week and another 1 going into 34. I've got enough time to move around my team enough that I can kind of put out a team of 10 double game weekers with promising fixtures, and then play Haaland as well. So it's okay. It's okay.
Not bad. Not bad. I mean, I've got Sarabia because I knew he was on pens. No, that was a shock to me. But yeah, not bad. As you said, you've got 3 transfers until 34. The captaincy I found really difficult this week. So I'll touch on my team. So I ended up going for Haaland.
Yeah.
Reason being, he was rested the week before, the mid game week, and the game week before that, he was called a League Two striker. And for me, there's just something in Haaland that made me think he's just going to come back with an absolute bang and be like, I've been benched, I've been called a League Two player, have some of that. He's also still the top scorer in the division. People are giving him stick. Like, the guy has got 18 Premier League goals this season. Last season, he broke the record for the most goals in a Premier League season with 38 games. He is world class, and he was playing against Palace. Now, City scored 4, he got 1. And for some reason, he got 2 bonus points. That shocked me, and obviously I benefited from it. De Bruyne's always going to get 3 bonus points after his 2 goals and an assist, but for some reason, Haaland got 2, which I'll take. So quite happy for the first time ever. Haaland was classed as a differential for me because he wasn't a major captain pick. Surprised me, Watkins wasn't on my threat list, so I'm assuming a lot of people have sold him, and he's classed as a little bit of a differential already. The threat list was Foden, and he didn't see the pitch, so that was great. But yeah, across my back line, slightly 2 different Arsenal backline for me. So I've got Raya and Gabriel, both get the clean sheet, so happy days with that. The transfer in was Brantwaite for Bradley. Good news for you, Matt, is Liverpool play Thursday, obviously, in the Europa League, so you might see Trent in the team, you might see Alisson in the team midweek. Probably more likely Trent, just to give you some ideas. But I did it for 2 reasons. So number one, I wanted to open up the third Liverpool slot for somebody else ahead of game week 34, maybe a Diaz, maybe a Jota.
Yeah, you're in a nice position now. Yeah, that's a good point. I think, I was just looking at your team and who you'd play, who you wouldn't on going into 34. And you've got the nice luxury of doing a bit of like a roundabout stuff with Son. If you want to take him in and take him out,
take him and bring him back. So I can do that. Bring in a third Liverpool attacker. But Brantwaite's a long-term hold. He's got 2 home fixtures in 34. So I wanted to keep in. The thing that annoyed me is I was keeping my eye on it all week. I could sell Bradley for 4.2. I could buy Brantwaite for 4.2. Keeping my eye on it. Then one night I didn't keep my eye on it, and Brantwaite went up in value. So I was 0.1 million shy of doing the transfer. But it was one that I was pretty set on. So I ended up selling Lascelles for Al Dalkill just to make 0.1 million. So I've wasted my second transfer, if I'm honest, which is a shame. But we'll come on to what I plan to do this game week anyway, which hopefully it's not going to have too much of an impact. Aiden Ori got his assist. He was playing as a winger, which was quite interesting. He won the penalty, so he got that's where his assist came from. But then went off in the 55th minute injured when a clean sheet was beckoning. Now, they didn't keep a clean sheet in the end, but if that injury came 5 minutes later, that would have been nice. A little clean sheet and bonus points.
100%. He's looking good, and it doesn't look like a serious injury, right? So I expect he'll be back this coming week.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a good pick, obviously, the last couple of weeks. I think his attacking threat is just going to be like reduced a lot kind of now, right? Because he's playing like a winger for a reason, right? Cunha is back, Hwang is back, right? So like, I don't think Nori is going to play as the winger anymore. I think it's going to be probably a front 3 of Sarabia, Cunha, and Hwang, right? So it's a short-term thing, right?
Yeah, that's it. It was to cover. I'll keep him till 34 because he doubles, and then 35 he's an easy move.
Yeah.
But O'Neill came out and said it was a sore calf. Took off before it got any worse. Could be okay for the weekend. So I'm not panicking. And then across the mid, Palmer with 5, Saka with 10, Salah with 8, Son with 5, and then up front, Darwin Núñez getting me an assist. Haaland the captain, and Solanke left Sarabia on the bench. He got 7. To be honest, I was never going to play him. Looking at the other 7 I had on the pitch, he was never going to get in ahead of any of them. So just one of those things. But yeah, not bad. 73 points overall. Takes me from 91k to 70k. So got to be happy with that. Green arrow. And yeah, on the up. Yeah. Hopefully I'll continue, but got to be happy with 70k.
About the move, it's a shame about that wasted transfer, really. But like, obviously, Lascelles is at such a difficult price point, and you wanted Brantwaite, right? So you've made that move. Obviously, that's going to become a problem when you bench boost, right? Because you've got a wasted slot there that you have to address down the line, right? But it's just a shame, little bit. I was just trying to think if I would look for anyone else than Brantwaite, but for his price point, he was like really the only valid option. Really, so he had a
but didn't put my eye on the bloody thing. But it is what it is. He's come in, got me a clean sheet. Bradley got 1 point, I think. Brantwaite got 6, so he's done 5 points up on it. And so it's worked out nicely.
You can do a hit down the line, and you're still up. Like a hit is 4 points, right? So you can do a hit, and then you can be reassured that hey, I've already gained that really with that clean sheet. But But yeah, been
But
cool
then
going
think of it
into
that way.
like kind of having like 2 going into 34. But I think you're in a good position with the structure anyway. So yeah, it's looking
Yeah, and I think
good.
ideally, as long as no bad news comes for the rest of this week, I think I should go into game week 34 with 2 still.
Yeah, yeah.
Hinting, I'm probably going to roll the transfer this week, but I'll tell you more about that at the end. But I should still go into 34 with 2.
Yeah, and you got 9.
Preferably 35 with 2.
Yeah, well, you got 9 already, right? And presumably
Right.
you want to be keeping Haaland, so you can. I'm guessing your move will be Son to Diaz, right? And then kind of back then with 2 transfers. One goes back Diaz back to Son, and then depends on how much like
Darwin.
cash you got stuck, and then
Yeah. Could easily be a Darwin to a, dare I say, Werner. Could be a Darwin to.
well, there's a much better option that you're going to miss.
Probably not Werner.
Or
Well, it's
and Jackson. You'd have Jackson like Jackson is.
Can't do him. I've got 3
No.
Chelsea already.
Oh dear.
Can't get Jackson. Can't get him. So
Yeah.
he's out. So it'd be there's options. There's options.
Yeah.
We'll see when they come. But yeah, Jackson's a no-go thanks to Petrovic, and he didn't fill me with confidence watching that game. I feel like Sanchez might get bought back in, and I just hope it's not in game week 35. I'm going to be hoping Petrovic is getting a double.
Agree.
Yeah. But on that, so moving on to the ticker. Now, one of the early things you taught us is when we do transfers, always look, and you mentioned 6 game weeks. That's the number you mentioned. Well, there's only 6 game weeks left. That's nice. That's a nice position to be for this podcast. So I bought up the Fixture Tickers for the next 6 game weeks, which takes us to the end of the season. This is the defensive one. Then we'll look at the attacker one. And then really, I'm just going to look at the different positions, Matt. So goalkeeper through to striker, get your thoughts on each position. Because with only 6 game weeks left, this is the last time we can really do that more longer term advice, if you get me. Everything else is then going to be shorter and shorter and shorter. The fixtures. Now you mentioned Kelleher and Bradley worry you, but the top of the defensive tracker.
I'm gonna kind of like criticize your heart, not criticize, but I'm gonna say something that maybe seem critical of your hard. I think already like the long term view don't matter, right? Because there's 6 game weeks kind of left, but there's gonna be 3 double game weeks in 34, 35, and 37 between them. And then there's some teams with blanks like Spurs in 34. So depending on your obvious stuff, I'm saying like team dependent, blah blah blah, that standard disclaimer, and like depend on your chip strategy or your window for transfers looks really different. So I think for me, like your chip strategy, actually this is quite valid, right? Because you've already used your wild card. But for someone like me, and I think a lot of people are doing this, like for 35, my transfers now, the next 2 are going to be super short term, right? They're looking at 33 and 34, and looking at where's the optimal teams. And I think, obviously, when you split the structure between like 33 and 34, and then 35 onwards, like there's some differences here, because obviously at the moment the table is very weighted towards the teams with the doubles, and 37 hasn't been announced yet. So it comes with that caveat. But obviously looking at defense now for the next 2, like Liverpool, great. Arsenal, really, really kind of great. Everton, like a kind of like a nice option with one of the games anyway, in kind of 30, 34. I think like it'll come when we look at the attacking view, but looking at just like 34 players you want to target, like Palace, wow, from an attacking point of view, 2 games at home, and probably I would say, I'm sure you got the stats somewhere, but I'd say West Ham and Newcastle are probably in the bottom 4 when it comes to expected team goals conceded, right? So I'm happy I've got Eze. Might even go Elise as well. That'd be quite fun looking at that fixture. Wow.
Yeah, double up. And you're right, West Ham have been conceding a lot of goals of late. Newcastle away are nowhere near as good. Did they beat Fulham 1-0? Is that the score?
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it's a long-term trend, right? But that's one game, right? They've been
prior to that, they have been conceding a lot. But that might be interesting then. So to cover both angles, So I can give my thought, I suppose, over the six game weeks because that's what I'm
Yeah,
playing with. But
I
then
mean,
you give yours over the 2.
yeah, I mean, for you, like, I think the tough thing that you like looking at this as is, like, there's some good rotation options in defence, right? Everton and Wolves standing out. The issue that you've got is that when their good fixture is moving forward, it's when other teams have doubles, right? So you might not want to use them, right? So Everton against Sheffield United at home, we know that's a big double game week. Same with Wolves when they're playing Palace at home, that's a big double game week, and we know 35 is a smaller double as well. So I think
Yeah.
on paper it looks good with those single game weeks, but like the way you position your team, it might be tough to get the optimal, get them out for the
That
best games.
37 is bench boost territory. So I'll
Hmm.
get them. I'll get
Oh,
them. They'll
cool.
just
Well,
sit on
yeah,
the bench.
well, that's reassuring. Like if that's your strategy, isn't it? Because like, yeah, Branthwaite against Sheffield United, you think you'd have predicted points of what 3.5, maybe 4, maybe like so. I think that's definitely decent. And the same goes for Alton against Palace, maybe predicted points of about 4. That's kind of cool, right? That's
Yeah.
good for you. And I think a lot of people who wildcard on 35 will probably jump off Arsenal defense. Hey, look, in those single game weeks, 36 and 38, you're going to expect them to get a clean sheet, aren't you? So like, there's gains to be made, like when other people go all in on like 37 doublers. So yeah, I think there's a few like nice little snippets there.
I'm glad. I'm glad to hear. To hear you say it because they're the they're the move. We'll see when we get there, but like moves of keeping Wolves, keeping Everton, surely for that stronger bench because I appreciate a lot of people at Wildcard and 35 are probably going to get potentially 15 out for game week 37. Now I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to get 10 out max. So I need to make sure the other 5 are still half decent single game weeks. Attack wise, Everton are top. When are you bringing in DCL?
Yeah, no, honestly, I was considering the core as an option actually this week rather than as is. So like, yeah, I get it, but yeah, for me, obviously, very short term, 33 and 34. I think Chelsea, Forest, Liverpool. I don't know, screaming too many goals for me, right? So yeah, I kind of like decided it against it, kind of really. But yeah, looking at this, and obviously it doesn't wait for the 37 double. We'll caveat that, but again, like there's going to be a dilemma for people with Arsenal, wild carding on 35, where they've got Bournemouth and Everton at home for like someone like you. Like a lot of teams will be without Saka. Probably without Saka, that's going to be pretty nervous viewing. And the same goes for Liverpool as well, right? Like, look, there's 2 nice home games in 36 and 38, and a lot of people will be without Salah for that run. So yeah, I think that's looking good. Attention on 34. I think Palace really stand out from a fixtures point of view. Really, I think that those are really ripe fixtures. To a lesser extent, it's a shame that they're 2 away games, but I think the kind of Liverpool kind of games, Fulham and Everton away, I'd expect goals there. So I think those 2. I'm not weighting this in terms of team, and what this doesn't do, which everyone has to keep in mind, it doesn't weight the fixture in terms of how strong the attack is itself. So obviously Sheffield United, even though they've got the second easiest fixtures according to this until game week 37 is weighted in, it doesn't weight them for just being a really bad attack, right? So you apply your own nuances in terms of who you think is actually good. Yeah, I mean, what are you seeing here?
That's what I've been bringing in. Everton, not attack, defense. I'm not a Decore fan, but I'm thinking what I am regretting 2 Arsenal defenders, which sounds stupid. But I'd love 2 Arsenal attackers and a defender. Havertz seems to be absolutely getting a goal and an assist pretty much every game. He is flying. I've done me wrong. I'm happy with the Arsenal defense, but I'd love to have 2 attackers for that double. Liverpool have got 2 attackers. I wouldn't mind a third because Liverpool aren't keeping clean sheets very much. So I wouldn't mind getting a third attacker in instead. The stats back Liverpool as the best attack in the division. So If it's anything like the United game, though, they won't put those chances away. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. And
No, no.
That Bournemouth game, I can tell you now, game week 34 will be Solanke's last time in my team. 35, he's gone.
No,
So it might mean I keep Darwin.
no, agree. I mean, looking at some of the swings that happen, like obviously because like let's imagine that the 37 fixtures have been added to this. Newcastle going to shoot right up, and wow, what a nice way for people to jump off certain players, to jump on a Isak, Gordon, etc. for like Sheffield United at home, Burnley away, Brighton at home, and then I think they got United and they away maybe as part of their
The double.
planned double, I think, and then Brentford away. That's a really nice run for attackers, and they're nice. The price points are friendly, right? So Isak, I think, is going to be very, very popular, as will Gordon. So like that's like looking at like a really nice swing. Same with Chelsea attack as well, right? Because they got the 35 there, Villa and Spurs. So let's bear in mind Spurs defensively are shit, right? So that's kind of a good fixture. And like Villa, we'll see. West Ham at home, that's really good from an attacking point of view. Forest away, I think that's, I was saying it's somewhat difficult. I kind of agree. Bournemouth home is an easy one as well. I think they got a tough double. I think in
Yeah,
30. It might be
50? Is it 50? Might
maybe,
be wrong. I'll double check. You carry
but
on. I'll have a look.
yeah, Chelsea got a really nice run. They're going to jump up there as well. Yeah, obviously some of these teams become a bit redundant after that swing, really.
Right in away.
Yeah, well, yeah. So Chelsea attack, and Newcastle attack really, really stand out as like even with free transfers, but also certainly if you're wild carding, you're going to go hard on there. So I think Jackson and Isak kind of like teamed up with Palmer and Gordon. So pretty much, but some of the players that we've like looked at throughout the year, that's going to be really popular. And I think looking at those fixtures, very powerful because the benefits are it's not just a short term 35 and 37 view. It's like the fixtures around are really nice. So I think moving from Solanke to those sort of guys makes hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're going with budget.
Sorry,
From that,
mate.
you can't take on 37. That's where the money comes from, right? Can't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the bet. Like someone like yourself who has a wild card, you have to make, right, is that like Salah, mainly Salah will be the cash cow, right? I think Salah and Saka, I think, will be the people that players will sacrifice. It's like, can they score enough in West Ham away, Spurs at home? That's a nice run for Salah, to be fair. Like, I think that's the bet you're playing. I think similar to Saka, I think that's a nice run there. So you just got to wait it up. I think on paper you want to go for the extra fixtures, of course, but like rotation comes into it. 90 minutes trying to win the league comes into it for those players as well. So I think that's going to be the debate for someone like yourself.
Yeah. Well, you'll be there to guide me through it. Start with goalkeepers. We're going on to goalkeepers. I mean, have you decided who you're bringing in? I appreciate your wild card and then 35. So those first 2 game weeks can going to be skipped, and make the caveat again. Game week 37 points should increase for those that are doubling in 37. At the minute, Pickford, Raya, top 2.
Yeah, agree.
Where are you looking? Yeah, stick with him.
Well, if I'm looking for a Kelleher replacement, because that's like short term, and looking at, let's say Alisson is back in the squad on Thursday night, I think Pickford would be my pick.
Yeah,
really. So I kind of agree with him being up front and having some nice potential for a big haul in 34. I'd put him as the prime option. I think if I'm looking at it more generally over that period. So what we're talking about, like the next 6 game weeks. I mean, I'd probably say my Ray is probably the bet. Yeah, I think over like long term, it's probably Edison. I know it's got Ortega there, but let's assume Edison is back, right? So it'll be, I'd assume, and if Edison is back as well, I think he'll have slightly higher predicted points versus Ortega. So I think it'll be Ortega, obviously 37 isn't showing as a double here. It will be, right? Yeah, they'd be in excess of 8. So I think, yeah, long term, assuming the doubles in 37, I think it'd be like Edison, Petrovic, assuming he keeps his position for Chelsea, right? Because he's got that.
Yeah.
He's got 2 extra games in like 6 game weeks, right? Compared to a lot of players. That's kind of big. Raya, Pickford, I think is still a good option, right? So I think, if I'm looking at a bargain option, it'd probably be Henderson would be the pick for Palace. Again, I think some okay fixture, well, some pretty decent fixtures to be fair. Really nice double in 34. So kind of agree. I kind of loosely agree. I think Edison needs to appear here, but Ortega is the proxy, and then I think it's add in Henderson for Palace. Add in, I think it's pretty accurate. These are the players I'd be targeting. Really, I mean, for me personally, going into 35, it would probably be Petrovic. I target, assuming that he looks like he's stable in that position. If not, Vicario for Spurs, of course, or maybe something like an Onana.
Yeah.
I think the names here are probably where I would think. Yeah, short term. If I was making a move though for a keeper for my team personally, because I can't afford I can't get Raya in, of course. If I'm moving Kelleher, it'd probably be, if I can afford the price point, it would probably be Pickford or Henderson. I'm not sure why Henderson doesn't appear on here, but yeah.
Well, Edison was on the bench at the weekend.
No, well.
So you've got to think he's going to start soon, right? If he's back on the bench, he's probably. You'd imagine he's going to start. Is it already play Real Madrid? So you've got to think he's going to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's an interesting one for you, just for anybody doing goalkeeper transfers, right? If Petrovic keeps his spot, and I hope he does. The whole reason I bought him in on the wild card is because I had Raya in 34 double, and then I have Petrovic 35, 37 double. The whole reason I got him. Pickford and Petrovic, 9.3 million, which for goalkeepers is pretty reasonable. They are 3rd and 4th on the defense fixture ticker, so they've got some nice fixtures to hopefully get some clean sheets. Over the next 6 game weeks, swapping the 2, you'll get 3 double game weeks out of them. And their fixture run will be Everton at home, double game week, Luton, double game week, Bournemouth at home.
That's nice.
Not bad. That's not bad. So if you're wildcarded now, or you've got one of those keepers, you want to do something with the other one, Pickford and Petrovic, have a nice run till the end of the season together.
Yeah, for sure. Agree.
If he keeps his place.
Yeah.
Come on, keep your place. Defense. So same sort of concept. Running through that, very unsurprisingly, Arsenal dominate this. 3 players right at the top of the ticker for expected points. Appreciate some of these players like further down, like a Kanji. I'll have another game to go into game week 37, etc. But for what we've got at the minute, White, Gabriel, Saliba, top of the shop. Liverpool not far behind. Not a surprise, right?
No. I mean, we said the fixed predictions have like caught up now, but we were saying like the Arsenal defenders. I think we were saying weeks ago, like based on like probably 3rd into the season, they're by far the best option. So yeah, those 3 are the best, certainly until 35, right? But they're good options moving forward as well. I think the team, like for defenders, I kind of look at nailedness, and then just like I put great emphasis on the team stats really compared to attackers. It's more of an individual thing. The teams that I think are good for the next 6, and I'll try and bake into a view of like the 37 doubles as well. Arsenal, of course, especially short term, like going up to 34. Liverpool, short term going up to 34, but like some way behind. I think I'd probably say Van Dijk is the prime option, and then Robertson. Pretty pricey though. It's interesting that like both Bradley's predicted 6.3 points. if 34, and then Trent is predicted 8.7. So I think maybe they're hedging their bets and predicting what they're both playing like
I think
60
so.
minutes a game or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe
That's
they
a
think Trent's going into the midfield. Don't see it. Not the
that's
way
a,
Endo and McAllister are playing.
no, I don't. I think he'll be eased back in maybe, but like yeah, there's a lot of there's risk there in there. I think
Yeah,
obviously the keepers
absolutely.
and Kelleher, like as soon as Allison is fit, he'll come straight back in because it's a like different type of position in
Yeah,
it. But yeah, Liverpool defenders. I think someone like a team I'll ignore despite a double and 37 like decent fixtures around it would be City. I just think there's too much minutes risks and rotation risks, and
yeah,
they're just conceding goals, right? I mean, I know it's a stereotype, but they are just conceding goals like quite easily. So yeah, I think I'd be staying away. The Newcastle defense will be an interesting one. The Newcastle defense will be interesting working around that. The last 3 game weeks, essentially when they have a
yeah,
double. So I think Trippier as a premium option would be interesting, but like Burn and Share come back into the mix. Short term, yeah, Everton defenders are good. So like yeah, Michaelenko, Tarkowski, Branthwaite. That I kind of
yeah,
agree with them being around, and you might want to sprinkle in a bit of a Pedro Porro, right? He got a
yeah.
goal. He got
A
a
goal.
goal on the weekend finally, but he obviously is a good option. Spurs are a bad defense, but if he's going to have 2 extra games from 35 onwards than anyone else, like he's a good option, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Udogi as well.
Yeah, true.
Good
But
Brantwaite on here for me,
yeah,
as I've just bought him in. Andy. But yeah,
um,
Chelsea, again, I was looking at the swap between Arsenal. Just think, when you build in a wild card in 35, right? Because you might want two Arsenal still, you might only want the one. But they're top of the ticker. They might not be, again, one double game week 37 to announce them from 35 onwards, granted. But the second and fourth on the ticker with Chelsea, right? Arsenal second, Chelsea are fourth. Again, so somebody like me who's got Gabriel and Gusto can run over the next 6 game weeks. Everton at home, double game week, Bournemouth at home, double game week, Bournemouth at home. Chelsea also trade with Liverpool nicely. Liverpool are first on the ticker. Crystal Palace at home, double game week, double game week. West Ham, double game week. Bournemouth or Wolves at home. Like Chelsea, I'm disappointed I've got two of them because I want to attack with their players, right? I love Palmer. I'm stuck with Gusto. I'm stuck with Petrovic. But when I look at how they trade nicely with a Liverpool and an Arsenal, do you feel like you've got to have at least one Chelsea defender or keeper in, just just to because their fixtures seem nice to fall nicely opposed to the big teams that you're probably going to go for,
well, in your team, it makes sense. I think anyone wild card in 35 wouldn't have
Ignore them.
any Arsenal player.
Get rid of all the Arsenal. Get rid of Saka as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, all right.
I think
Interest.
yeah. When people like play their squads, I'll be surprised to see more than one Arsenal player. I'll be surprised to see any really. Like, I think that'd be better
Yeah.
options.
One player that's not on this list is Eight Nori, right? So it'd be worth having a touch on him. £4.7 million, 2 goals and an assist in his last 4 games. Played as a winger against West Ham. Wolves are fifth on the defensive ticker. Thoughts on Eight Nori?
Yeah, obviously, like I think, well, 34, he's good, right? And that's why he's high up on the ticker. I think after that, it becomes just like an average player and like a annoying player that you'd probably look on for another cheap, look to move to Dan Burn or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's a really just the way the fixtures have kind of fallen. Like 34 to 35 is a real switch of when
Yeah.
players are good and they're not. And obviously, top quality players to top quality teams, like they still remain valid options. And they like the Arsenal defenders. Someone playing for like Wolves is very much you've got to play those fixtures and the volume of fixtures as well. So yeah, short term that is a
Absolutely.
great option. 35 onwards, you'll be looking to move him. I suspect to another cheap defender like Burn.
Essentially, yeah, it depends who else I can get rid of. um, but
But
midfielders,
your defense, like you need to save some money to start moving your defenders, right? Because it's
that's the
as cheap as
problem.
you can get.
I probably need to sell a midfielder to be able to do anything with my defense because yeah, I'm on the bare bones price wise. Um, unsurprisingly, midfield option Salah's top, which is why I probably don't want to cow him. Saka second, so that's interesting. You noted people might get rid of Saka. Now I appreciate the big points coming game week 34 when he doubled, but even expected 6.6 in 36, 6.1 in 38. Do you think it's a risk getting rid of a Saka, or do you think that'd be the one Arsenal player everybody keeps?
I think anyone playing serious will get rid of Salah and Saka, like just to free up the money to kind of make a good double game week squad for 37 and just like optimize those fixtures. I really got to play for captaincy, really, but like I don't think it's coming through here in these numbers, but like Palmer or Son will probably be the best option in 35 just by sheer games, and then in 37 it's going to be Son is going to be an option, Palmer will be an option, Bruno Fernandes will be an option, right? So I think you're covering the captaincy quite well with Haaland, of course. Haaland will be the captaincy option, of course, in 37. Foden, right? So you cover it quite well, really. Salah's just the price point is just a tough one. So yeah, I think that's the bet that you're making. If I'm looking, obviously, I kind of agree with these picks. Bar De Bruyne, never going there again. But yeah, I think these are the best options. I'll ignore Royce. I think Luis Diaz, like short term, is a nice option. I think you should be really considering him for your squad. Longer term, which doesn't appear here, the Spurs midfielders will make more of a they have more of a presence. So Son and Maddison will be appearing here. I like Bruno Fernandes is here, which is kind of cool because I think 35 onwards, I think he becomes a very valid option with the 37 double game week. So Garnacho and Fernandes become options, and like United are still battling for something, right? So like you'd imagine they'd be playing their main squad. Gordon becomes an option 35 onwards, just with the way the fixtures are kind of like falling. So. And Gross, maybe. I think Brighton have a double name, so Gross is an option. So I'm just thinking, like all of these, the obvious names, they're all the outside of Son, they're all the best midfielders, aren't they? Really. So it's like, yeah. So it's not really surprising. So I'm just trying to like add in some more budget names in and around. Like,
well, you mentioned Tottenham and Chelsea from 35 onwards, right? Last 6 game weeks, top 3 players in terms of expected FPL points across the midfield, right? Palmer, 48. Unsurprisingly, he's top. Second, Brendan Johnson, 39.35. And third, Son, 38.99. Fourth, Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
Well, so they've been the big players over the last 6 game weeks. So 35 onwards, like you're looking to have all 3 of them on your wild card. Does it appreciate with Johnson? It depends a lot on Richarlison and when he returns.
Yeah, I'm not going Johnson. Like, but yeah, obviously
I'm pushing you for Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite confident I have Palmer and Jackson. Just kind of monitor Jackson's minutes really, but like I think he's playing enough. He's getting enough game time to say that he's going to play. 90% confidence. The Spurs is like who else? Like so, obviously, really, what people want is Richarlison to come back because he's just like a solid option and a nice player to have, really. So, in the absence of Richarlison, then it was a question of like, is Maddison doing enough? Can he come in?
Yeah,
you don't really want to double up in the defense. I think it's like you either want Vicario or Pedro Porro. Really, you don't want. And Pedro Porro he's expensive for what you're getting, really. So, yeah, you probably want 2 Spurs attackers and probably 2 Chelsea attackers as well.
Yeah. Well, on the Diaz point, here's something for you. Last 6 game weeks, expected points of 37.4. That was only 27.2. So Diaz is expected to get over 10 more points based on his stats than Salah.
Yeah, there's got to be something around.
Quite interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Is there has he missed some game weeks in that period?
I think he's missed 1. I think he's missed 1 compared to Diaz. But 10 points is a lot.
No, Diaz is looking good now. Diaz is looking good.
Yeah, stepped up. On a similar trend, Arsenal attack, right? A third on the attack list. As mentioned, we've both got two defenders, so can't really push to a third anytime soon. Unfortunately, we'll probably both miss out on game week 34. Our double Arsenal attack. Havertz, right? Havertz is less than 5% owned. Okay. Over the last 6 game weeks, expected goal involvement per 90, he was 0.79. Now he's 7.3 million, 0.79. Saka, 0.67. Martinelli, 0.69. Odegaard, 0.5. He's the cheapest of the four, and he's delivering the most output.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, right? I'm gonna take the. I'm gonna like make a note of this as another moral victory in my terrible season, right? But I
You
went for
had
Havertz.
him off the
I
bat.
started with Havertz. No, I had him for the first 8 game weeks. Throughout that whole period, he had the most expected goal involvement. He just didn't get any returns. He was just like unlucky. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, roll on those expected goal rankings. Like that's where I'm gonna make my mark. But yeah, like obviously he's now. I'm not surprised. Like obviously he's converting now, which is cool. Yeah, I'd still rank the Arsenal midfielders Saka because of penalties, Odegaard because of like just general involvement, and then Havertz because there is a rotation risk, right? It when's Martinelli is back now, Jesus is back now, right? So that he could move back to the midfield, right? So I would put him slightly behind Odegaard, but it's like Saka, Gap, and then Odegaard and Havertz quite close. But yeah, I think they're all good options. But if I was going double Arsenal midfielder, I'd go Odegaard over Havertz. But yeah, like we do make some sensible suggestions here. It's just the wrong type.
Well,
We just tend to have the players in our team at the wrong time.
yeah, so people just listen to this and then bring Havertz into your team in 37. Oh, that'll be that'll be a genius move.
Well, like
from you 30 weeks ago.
Whenever we don't have Phil Foden, well, whenever I don't have Phil Foden, just playing because that's when he gets his hat tricks from nothing.
Yeah, I think I snuck one in. Strikers similar. Now, I'll be honest, there's nowhere near as much to talk about in the striker field because I think the strikers generally pick themselves whether you're playing your wild card in 35 or not. I think Solanke, Darwin, Haaland seem to be the main two up until game week 35, and then you might bring in an Isaac, you might bring in Hoyland if United are playing well for him to double in 37. Somebody that's not on this that might be of interest. Werner, if he continues to start and deliver for Chelsea over the last 6 game weeks, he's got better expected returns than Son. Is all I'm going to say. I saw you smile. Got better expected returns than Son, and he's a striker, which is interesting because it frees up some of the midfielders for other players. But I'm assuming from that reaction, you're not going for Werner.
No, we'll see. I doubt it. Like Richardson and like Johnson being out, then it's like, he becomes quite interesting. But yeah, unless there's like news like that. I mean, from this, like, I think there's some interesting predictions here, but like, yeah, generally agree with the sentiment. So I think Haaland's obviously the standout throughout the whole period, and I think that's why people can go without Saka and Salah, because like game week 36 he's a captaincy option, game week 38 he's a captaincy option, game week 37 when you add another game to that he'll be in excess of like 11 points predicted points, right? So that's why you can go without Salah. I think other than that you've got players where you want to segment them in terms of when they are good. So Solanke, you can see the next 2 games are like pretty good. Yeah. After that is quite dead. Right, so yeah, Solanke is definitely someone like game 33 and 34. That's cool. Then like ideally look to move him on. I think, in my opinion, the same applies to Darwin. Right, with his predicted points, 4.1 and 6.5. That 6.5 feels low. I think I'd put him like closer to like 9 expected points or 8. I'd give him parity to what Diaz has got. I think he's definitely going to be playing, right? Unless like Jota makes a miraculous return. So I think you've got to think Darwin's going to still be around for it. But yeah, those guys are like next 2 game weeks are the games you target, and then they become a bit of a redundant option, kind of really. Watkins is that kind of interesting guy where most people moved him on if they're serious. He's going to like chip away. Well, he's not going to chip away. He's going to get big hauls in random games like he does. But you just have to accept that there's better options either side. Isak becomes a real great option 35 onwards because 37 is artificially low. He should be closer to like 10 points, expected points, because he'll have the double. I think you mentioned some of the other players that become interesting as well. You've got Højlund from United, I think is an intriguing one. I really think Jackson should be on here. I'm really surprised at the lack of Jackson.
But clearly the fantasy fix have been snookered by him like we were early doors. So there's like he's not going on any of our list.
Honestly, think I think he's going to be kind of a really, really good option. Like 35, just sheer volume of games, right? He's going to have like 35 is Villa, Spurs, West Ham, Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth. Those are all kind of leaky teams, right? So you got to kind of like just form a view: is he going to play the games? Like, and I think the returns. He's had some okay returns, right? It's not like he's been crap the whole season, right? I think it's starting to average itself out. So I think he's a real valid option, kind of like for the 35 onwards, kind of like proportion of this, just for sheer volume of fixtures. But yeah, Isak. Yeah, so I think Haaland, Isak, and Jackson will be like
They're going to be your front three on the wild card. From the sounds of it, you've talked yourself into that. They're your front three from 35 on the wild card. What are you going to do with Watkins between now and then? You keeping him?
Well, he's going to move to Darwin, I think. It's just when.
Yeah.
It's just when. I could be a bit do a bit of a rogue move and actually do like Watkins to Mateta and then get Diaz for like a midfielder. So I might explore that option because it's quite interesting to me. But yeah, I think Darwin is the standout at the moment as a replacement for Watkins, which makes sense because it frees up some money in my squad. Just the problem is like moving Watkins this week will be the best week because he's playing Arsenal, like the best defense. So like it'd be good to move him out. I just don't know because I've got 3 Liverpool. I don't know who to move from Kelleher or Bradley. So I hope, the European fixtures like give a bit of a reveal of like who's close to returning. So really, I think I'll probably make a call if it's Trent like it coming on. Cool, I'll probably move Bradley. If it's Allison in around the squad, I'll look to move Kelleher. I think if I had doubt on both of them, I'd probably move Kelleher just because keepers are really nice in double game weeks and like it'd be nice to have someone like Pickford if I can. I haven't run the numbers yet, but if I could afford Pickford, that would be quite a nice option. And I do have other double game week defenders, so But I'll be moving Watkins for sure. Like, Darwin is the runaway favourite for that. I mean, I might consider Mateta, Cunha, these sort of guys as well, just if I want to be a little bit different and go then for Diaz.
Yeah.
Which it's not a bad idea.
No, he's absolutely scored in his last 3 or 4, so he's doing well. Then captaincy pick, as we always do, game week 33. Not easy, I don't think. So the top 2 I expect to be the Haaland at home to Luton, Salah at home to Palace. Palmer feels quite low. Palmer's at home to Everton. I'm assuming you're not going to captain Foden. If you've got him and Haaland, you're probably going to captain Haaland, right? Over Foden and De Bruyne, for that matter.
Yeah. I think that the top 3 are Haaland, Salah. Saka's a very good option as well. Haaland, Salah,
he's got Villa,
Palmer, all like really good options. I think, I'd agree. At the moment, I've got Haaland as captain and Salah as vice, and then you did consider Saka and Palmer. I think the thing to consider is just like let's look at how much energy is spent on like the European games, right? And like any injuries or fatigue or whatnot. I mean, that's the benefit Palmer has, is that he'll be fresh, but I'm not going to overthink that too much. So Haaland's my captain at the moment.
Well, interestingly, I'm leaning Salah. And again, European games, I'll do that. Haaland's playing Madrid, right? Probably the winner of that tie is probably going to go on to win the Champions League. With Salah's got Atlanta, maybe Liverpool will rest and play Elliott, so that'll make my decision. But I just running some numbers, okay? Expect the points at home per 90 this season, yeah? Haaland 6.57, Salah 9.87. More than 3 points expected points at home per 90 more than Haaland per game.
Yeah,
That's massive.
That's a lot.
Palmer at home 9.67, also 3 points ahead of Haaland. However, on the flip side, looking at the expected goals conceded on who they're playing per 90, Luton are expected to concede 2.6 per away game per 90 minutes, whereas Crystal Palace and Everton are 1.82 each. So 0.8 goals less. But 3 points, 3 points per game extra expected for Salah. It's a lot. I don't know whether, again, I appreciate per goal, Salah gets an extra point and he also gets a point for a clean sheet. So that might have something to do with it. But that's a big number, do you not think?
Yeah, I'm quite surprised, but like,
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see the fixtures that they've still got due at home, right? So obviously, Man City are playing Luton, right, which is kind of one of the easiest games. Palace are a good defense. Like, let's be honest, we can't compare those two defenses, right? Then who else have City got at home? Not many. It's not many home games actually. Yeah, Wolves.
No, not many left. Not many left at all. I think they've got Tottenham, or they're away at Tottenham.
Yeah. Well, they got West Ham, who's an easy one, but yeah, that point's a bit redundant. Like, I was going to expect them to have like all the really bad teams, but no, yeah, I'm kind of quite surprised at that.
Third, I'll probably end up on Haaland, but at the minute I'm on Salah. But we'll see how Europe goes. But I just think there's a conversation, Haaland or Salah for me. It'd be interesting if we both go for a different for one or the other to see what happens. But just for anybody listening, I don't feel it's a foregone conclusion that Haaland's the pick. But yeah, moving on. Matt versus Dave, and my man Alexis came to my rescue on the last day of the game week with an absolute thunderbolt into the top corner, picking up 5 points for his goal and 3 bonus points. I think going into that game, you were 10-1 up, and McAllister pulled out a 10-pointer. So I nicked the victory 11-10. And I apologise for how I did it. It would have been nicer if McAllister played before Martinelli. I'm not sorry. I'm glad I won 12-12. So going into game week 33, 6 game weeks to go, everything to play for.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that was I thought I had it in the bag then with those 2 returns, but it's the power of bonus points, isn't it?
Yeah, and he scoring a goal. I was going to say he'd probably do that only once this season. He did have another against Fulham earlier in the season, which was a bit of a peach as well. But coming into his own, McAllister. That said, he's now, I believe, over 5% owned, so we can't take him anymore. He's out. I get to go first for game week 33. The obvious ones, I'm not going to pick him. The obvious ones he's still less than 5% owned. He's 4.7% owned, and he's playing up front for Arsenal. But they're playing Villa. He's got 10 returns in his last 7. I just want to have a bit of fun, right? We've got 6 weeks left. I picked Havertz too much. I'm gonna pick somebody else just for a bit of fun, which means you're gonna take Havertz. I can see from the look on your face your first pick's gonna be Havertz. I am going to go for a player who let me down very badly and you down about 3 game weeks ago because he got a red card. Reguilon is 1.7% owned. He's just got 2 assists and he's at home to Sheffield United.
No, nice.
I feel like he's just a bit of an interesting pick.
No, he was on my shortlist actually. To be fair, I think obviously playing a very weak team, potential for clean sheet, I think is pretty strong. Right, I'd say. What do you reckon the odds are? About 40%. It's got to be 40% ish. The odds have got to be for him to get a clean sheet, right? And then it's got the attacking potential. If he gets anything, he's going to get some bonus in it as well. So he was on my shortlist. So I think he's a nice option. I mean, I was looking at some kind of like players. Like, unfortunately, I was going through like the list of, I reckon this person will be like low ownership and it can sneak through. So I had like Mbumo, I was like looking forward to. He's still 6%, so just over the threshold. So I think that's a lot of the dead teams from earlier in the season. So unfortunately, can't go him. I looked at Bruno Fernandes. He's like 9% kind of like owned. So like he's still again like dead teams really. But like I think given you give him that gift to me, I've got to go Havertz. Really for all the reasons you said.
Yeah, and if you hadn't took him, I'd have probably made him my second pick.
Yeah.
But he's gone. Havertz is no more, and I reckon after this game week he'll probably be more than 5% owned as well. So that's probably the last
should
last
be.
time we can have him. I think got two. One is a very similar pick to Reguilon. He's an attacking defender. I don't know whether to go with him.
Go big or bigger. Go home. Get those 15 points.
Whether he starts is the problem. I trusted my boy last time. I was a big Liverpool fan. I trusted McAllister. He brought home the bacon. I'm going to trust another Liverpool player. Scotland captain Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson is 3.3% owned. Against United, the expected goal involvement is 0.4. He gets up that wing, especially when Trent isn't in the team. And we're at home to Palace. So there's every chance of a clean sheet.
That looks
trust my man.
That looks pretty good. I mean, for me, I'm just been making some notes now. Like my shortlist is I'm considering Jackson, considering Gibbs White.
Gibbs White was my other.
Paqueta as well.
Paqueta, yeah.
What are you thinking out of those?
Gibbs White was on the list. My four were Reguilon, Robertson, Gibbs White, and Havertz. Gibbs White, four returns in his last 5.
Yeah.
And he's on pen. Not that I'm trying to talk you into him.
Paqueta's looking good, but doesn't have the pens. And then Chelsea. I need to look at Jackson's stats. Bear with me. This is probably incredibly boring listening and viewing.
5% zone. Can't believe he's
Jackson's gone up since I looked at it earlier today. He's 5.1%.
What is he now? No, he's out. He's gone.
Okay.
Let's make sure Havertz isn't over 5% owned.
Need to stop talking. Like they're like growing in ownership as we speak, aren't they?
Havertz is 4.8% owned. You are still fine.
Cool. Let's go Gibbs White. That sounds ripe for a grim game, isn't it? Like Forest against Wolves.
It's Wolves.
That's a boring match.
Yeah.
It's something where he'll get Gibbs White will get a corner assist. So yeah, Paqueta was more of the flair pick, but I'll go set pieces, solid.
Yeah, I've got envy. As I say, Gibbs White and Havertz were my other two, and the fact that you've got both of them, and I've got Reguilon and Robertson, I'm starting to regret it. But
Reguilon is look. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked him over both of them, but he is looking pretty good. Is Gibbs White? Yeah, Gibbs White is owned 1.9%.
1.9. He's way down. People were watching me have him. I had him for about 12 game weeks, and he did absolutely nothing.
Oh, he did all right. He got a few returns, like in quiet game weeks, didn't he?
Not as much as I wanted him to. But there you go. So Havertz and Gibbs White against the defensive duo of Robertson and Reguilon. We'll see who takes the lead next week. Trying to be dead quick here. So just to reveal on what I'm going to do. I'm pretty happy with the 11. So just to run through it for those that are listening, sticking with the Arsenal, Raya and Gabriel both are home to Villa. Nori looks like he's going to be fine, so he's away at Forest. I'll play him. Gusto are home to Everton. Could be a clean sheet for him. And then the standard 7 up top. Palmer, Saka, Salah, Son, Darwin, Haaland, Solanke. I could bring Sarabia in, who's away at Forest, but out of those 7 that I've just named, like who am I going to bench? I'm not really going to bench any of them. So Sarabia stays on the bench for me. And at the minute, revert to you. I've got Salah captain and Haaland vice, but we'll see what happens in Europe. There's nothing I really think I need to do. If I'm honest, I'm quite happy with the 11, so very likely going to roll. If I hear 8 Nori is definitely out, or something happens in Europe and a player gets injured, then I'll use my transfer maybe. But as the news stands today, I'm probably not going to do anything. I want to roll my transfer and get myself to 2 transfers going into game week 35. That'd allow me to catch some of those swings, or even get myself to 3 Spurs players as well as the 3 Chelsea I've already got. But yeah, current plans, I should have 9 doubles for 34, 9 doubles for 37. Have Palmer, Haaland, Salah, Saka, big hitters as the non-double game weekers. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the squad. Is there anything that you look at and you think, well, you're obviously missing this, or
No. I think rolling is, you should roll. Like, I mean, don't be spooked by out Nori kind of news. Like, you can play Brandfreight coming on is perfectly fine.
you
But
think?
let's be honest, like Wolves aren't getting a clean sheet, neither at Everton, right? Whatever, you're going to be trading 2 or 1 point between the two, right? So it's not going to make much of a difference. So yeah, you should definitely roll. Yeah, next week is more interesting for you. I think you want 2 free transfers going into, because you don't have your wild card, right? So you need that luxury wherever possible. Yeah, I really think Diaz becomes a really interesting option for you.
Yeah, the Sun potentially. Three Liverpool attackers.
Diaz for Son, and then you bench Palmer for Sarabia, really. And then you got 10 very solid double game weekers in 34. You got the 2 free transfers then to work out how you want to bring back Son in and attack the next game week, right? Which could be as simple as, because there can be price changes, and I think you've had Son for a while, so there's probably some money vested in him. But it could be simple as Son back in and then Darwin to Isak. Lovely move that.
I'd have to sell Salah.
Or Son in and Jackson for Darwin. Or you can go hard and just go like, Salah's obviously a massive cash cow, right? Or Saka is as well. So you've got so many options that you can take there. You go Saka down to Maddison. You could go Salah to Maddison. Bring in Fernandes. So I think that is probably a nice pathway to consider.
Options there. I think I'll roll. I think.
But if you don't roll that, you can't do that really, because then you get screwed in 35 really. So you really need to roll to set that up.
Exactly there. I think I'll even going into 34, just 1 transfer, and then the second into 35, I think is worth more to me than doing 2 transfers in 34.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Well, onto your team and what you're looking to do.
So I've got 2, 3 transfers. And I've got going into 34. So obviously going to 33, but talking about 34, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 double game weekers, but they're in the wrong positions and the players that aren't guaranteed to play. So the way that the fixtures landed didn't really work for my squad. But I've got my starting 11 at the moment looks okay. So I've got Kelleher, Bradley at the moment, Saliba, Gabriel, so the kind of defence and keepers. Gordon, Saka, Salah, Palmer. Salah is vice. Solanke, Captain, Haaland, and Watkins. My bench got Eze, and then the 2 Bournemouth defenders. I've got 2 free transfers here, really, and I'm in that dilemma I spoke about a little bit, that I don't really have the best Liverpool players at the moment. I've got Kelleher and Bradley, both who are at risk of a drop imminently as soon as Alexander-Arnold and Alisson come back. And I need, I want to get rid of Watkins really, just because he kind of there's a lot of money vested in him, so I want to just free that up a little bit. But to move to the obvious option, Darwin, I need to get rid of one of those defenders. So Watkins to Darwin is on the cards, and I think it's a nice week to move because obviously Watkins playing Arsenal away, which is the toughest fixture that you got from an attacking point of view, so I can feel quite assured moving him on. Then it's a question of who to move. I think if I move Kelleher or Bradley, it's probably going to be for a Everton defender. if I can afford it. I haven't run the numbers actually, but I think I can afford Pickford for Kelleher. So yeah, happy days if I can do that. Bradley again, it'll probably be like depends on kind of how price points work. But I probably put Braithwaite is probably the one I'd put at the lowest. I'd probably put Michaelenko ahead of I put him as the best Everton option. Altmore is an option as well. I'll see what happens in kind of Europe and what it says in press conferences, just based on like Trent and Alisson's return dates. It might be I'm overthinking it, and they're like the perfect two options, really. But I'll see it. If I'm not certain enough, like if I still want to buy a little bit of time before I make that move for Darwin, I could. I've got like an option of moving Gordon to someone. Because Spurs at home it's not the best game, and like I'm gonna have to get. I'm not going to be playing Gordon in the double anyway, so I could move him to Sarabia or Elise just to kind of like attack that really ripe Palace fixture. So yeah, burning a transfer won't be an option, right? That's just like stupid, right? So even if I'm moving Kirkes to Braithwaite, right, just to kind of bulk up my team, I'll do that. But I'll be definitely waiting to see what happens in Europe, waiting to see what happens in the press conferences as well, just to try and make sure that when I make that Liverpool move, it's the best one possible. I don't know. It didn't really come to me, but like talking out loud, I was talking about Cunha, Mateta, like an alternative striker option to Darwin, which then would mean bring in Diaz for someone like Gordon. Like, do you reckon that's a good move? I don't think I can afford it. It's probably a moot point.
You could if you bring Cunha, because Cunha's probably going to get 3 million, right? You're probably going to Watkins to Cunha's probably a 3 million thing.
Yeah,
so you can quite easily jump to Diaz. My issue, you've got the same problem you've got with Keller and Bradley. When's Jota back? Because as soon as Jota's back, Diaz's minutes are going to get managed. Same as Nunes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Both of them will be in and out because Darwin can sometimes plays left and he puts Jota through the middle, or he'll play Diaz left and Jota through the middle. So it's the only one that's going to play guaranteed is Salah. So yeah, you'll find yourself in the same position if Jota's due. And from the sounds of it, Jota's not far off either. So it's all these Liverpool players coming back giving us headache.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate the advice. Don't get any.
Yeah, there was no advice there other than be careful. Jota's back as well. So it's but the way Diaz has been playing, the stats that I mentioned before, his expected outputs have been better than Salah and Nunes. He's been Liverpool's main threat. So based on that, I'd be surprised if Diaz gets dropped and it isn't Nunes that makes more minutes. But then Nunes is Captain Chaos, right? So he makes things happen off the ball, not just on the ball.
Yeah.
Tough one. You know what the best move is. Keep your eye on Europe. That's my advice. Keep your eye on the European fixture against Atlanta. See who's in the squad. See who plays. And if Diaz plays 90 minutes and Jota's on the bench, you can probably guess at the weekend. Maybe Jota's going to get some minutes off him.
Definitely. I think ideal scenario is one of Trent and Alisson are just like confirmed for like they've had a complication and whatnot, and then I can just like sit down knowing that those players are going to play twice in the double. Happy days. Now I can just with confidence move out the other one, bring in Nunes with Watkins, and then I've got a free transfer then in the next game week to then target like a midfield player. That would be that's ideal, but I suspect it's not going to fall like that. And I'm already as well for Kirkes, who's definitely not going to be my starting lineup in 34, despite having the double. I'm all ready for him to be like the top scorer in the game week. I'm ready.
Oh yeah, going to score in both games. Goal and an assist.
He looks good. Whenever he does play, he does look quite good. That's the thing. He does look quite threatening.
Yeah. So how many doubles are you going to have in 34? You say 10?
Well, I think it's it depends, doesn't it, really? But like, I'll get rid of Watkins. So that's Nunes there. So Nunes, Haaland, Solanke will be up front. So there's two doublers there. Midfield, I'll have Salah and Saka. I'll have Eze playing, and I'll probably have +1. right? So that's
Yeah.
4. Then a back 3. It really, it depends on Kelleher and Bradley, mate, because I could be left
Yeah.
with 9 double game weekers, or
Yeah.
I could be and I'm only counting them as a
Well,
proper double game week if you're confident they're going to play both games.
yeah.
Or I could have 10 really. Like I'm hoping is 10.
Yeah. Well, a good position, right? Really good position. And then I appreciate we'll talk about this probably game week 35, Kat. But as you plan for your wild card, early insight, as you plan for your wild card to bring in then, because you've got your bench boost left, potentially 15 to play game week 37.
Yeah, I'll be bringing in six Chelsea and Spurs players, of course, and
Yeah.
then try and get um
3 City.
maybe not really, because I think there's only 2
No.
valid options at the moment from FPL point of view, being Foden and Haaland, right? I don't know
Yeah.
which one of their defenders I would want for that premium that they come with. So unless there's injuries between now and then, it could just be 2 City. But I think there's some nice teams that are, but Spurs and Chelsea relatively good for the budget. I think Son is pricey, as is Pedro Porro, but Chelsea with Palmer and Jackson, and then the keeper Petrovic or Gusto, they're like good price points. But then there's like teams like Newcastle that are like good price points, like Isak and Gordon. Brighton are a decent team as well. There's some good options at United, like Garnacho is a really nice enabler, right? So yeah, spread my funds, but like it does mean that Salah and Saka won't be in the team, but I can live with that.
Yeah. Like you said, the people you're bringing in have got 2 more fixtures than them in the 3-4 game weeks remaining.
Yeah, just got to make sure that they actually play it.
Yeah.
That's always the risk you're running, because it's a hell of a lot of fixture congestion, but we shall see. I
Yeah.
like your other thoughts that you put in for me, and like obviously all these thoughts of you on behalf of me, like wildcard likely in game week 35.
I knew that was coming, so I thought I might as well whack that in there. I thought you mentioned that last week, and obviously until then, make sure you get those double game week players in for 34.
Yeah,
Dead end the team, as they say. Hopefully, if I ever put anything on there that's incorrect, call it out. By the way, but yeah, that's it. That is the end. 30. We're obviously recording this on Monday, so there isn't any games for the next. There isn't a Friday night game, is there? I'm pretty sure the deadline is Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that, just in case. But I'm pretty sure there isn't a Friday game. Yeah, Saturday at 11 is the deadline. So six days to go. Will you just be tinkering, wait for the European games out the way, and then start to tinker?
yeah, I think so. I think I missed the deadline this week actually. So like, I'll make sure I hit it.
Get it this time. Get it this time. But I appreciate your time, Matt. I'll see you on Wednesday. I won't tell
Yeah,
anybody where in case they all come. But I'll see you on Wednesday.
I'll see
Um,
you Wednesday. I'll come back to the next episode with a headset like yourself. You giving
brilliant
them away?
stuff. This is gonna, yeah, Blue Yeti stopped sponsoring us, so we can get Jabra to sponsor us instead. That's the move. Blue Yeti said no, so we're gonna move on. We'll just get new headphones every couple of months until one of them
Hey,
sticks and they
you
start
should have said
sponsoring us.
that sponsorship ended as well, like, because I've quit my job between like the last episode as well,
Oh,
as you know, innit?
sorry,
So like that was based on the Blue Yeti sponsorship.
sponsorship. Sorry, my bad, my bad. They turned it down last minute. I would have told you otherwise.
Ah,
But yeah, Jabra are going to come in, so don't worry about that. And then we're going to get Yellow Ducks to sponsor us at some point down the line. That's going to come in as well. It's there every episode, So I'll get them in board. But I'm chatting nonsense now, Matt. Appreciate your time. Appreciate the advice and the guidance as always. And whatever you end up doing, depending on what happens in the fixtures, I wish you the best of luck with it. And yeah, no, that we'll catch up at a game week, the double game week, 34 next week.
yeah, and enjoy your rolling, innit? Should be a dull one for you. Don't get too excited. Don't get excited Tuesday night if you're having a few drinks
I'll
tomorrow.
be
Don't get too excited.
well. Yeah, we'll see. Unless
Don't
there's
get
European
influenced.
injuries, as I say, I'll be pretty boring and just roll it
Yeah.
out. But yeah, whatever you do. Thanks for listening. Best of luck with your transfer. I say it every time, but if you haven't hit subscribe, you can see the ticker rolling across at the bottom. Make sure you hit it. It does help us out and means that other people can find us as well. But whatever transfers you do, best of luck. Keep planning for 34. If you've still got your wild card, look forward to 35 too. Don't copy Matt, but I imagine Matt's going to have a good, strong end to the season. So maybe you should. But whatever you decide to do, we will catch you then.